Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. Today we're here to talk perhaps a sad truth about Street Fighter 6, and that's that the main grapplers, the characters with the 360s, Lily and Zangief, they're pretty bad. And debatably, they are the two worst characters in the game, specifically. You may recall in the lead up to Street Fighter 6 how everyone was like, grapplers are going to dominate this game, grapplers forever, like Zangief's definitely going to be guaranteed top tier. And you know what? I played along with that just because I knew what the grim reality was coming, right? I've been at this long enough to know exactly what the tier placement of a big body / primary grappler character is going to be in just about any fighting game. I've seen this happen way too many times before. And that is, of course, naturally, generally speaking, most games, the grapplers don't do so well. Far from dominating the game, the grapplers, they're not doing so great. I actually have here an amalgamated tier list. So this is based off a lot of pro picks and a lot of names you probably recognize here. Angry Bird, Big Bird, Tachikawa, Mago, all that kind of stuff. Haitani, who took every character to master, by the way. And at the absolute bottom of this list is indeed Lily and Zangief. And I use this list as an example specifically because when I looked at this list, it's the first list in a long time, I look at it and I'm just like, yeah, that seems about right. And I'm sure you've been inundated with a million tier lists from a million sources. And for the most part, they're all going to be putting either Zangief or Lily at the bottom. So let's talk about that. Why exactly are they struggling? And is there anything that can be done? Obviously, it's not balance time just yet, but let's identify some of the core flaws and look at what can be improved. So, between both characters, what's one thing they both suffer from? They both have individual weaknesses, sure, but what's one thing they both suffer from? That is defense, or specifically lack thereof. So, neither character has, the traditional invincible Shoryuken style move. Lily's, you think should be, but no. It actually is only throw immune and nothing else, which is definitely a bummer for her. Now, Lily, specifically, does have the invincible to strike startup level 1 super. However, it is a bit slower than everyone else's that has a comparable move, and it's a bit more susceptible to just, a jab, whiffing on it and still getting time to block, which is unfortunate. However, Zangief doesn't even have that, right? His level 1 is the anti-air, and that has its own set of problems, which we'll talk about in a minute here. But decisively cannot work as a defensive grounded move against, basic pressure, right? He does have his level 2, and his level 2 is full invincible startup. However, it is even slower than Lily's level 1. So while it's good at, catching the fireball, which is one of the things it's designed to do, as against relentless pressure, especially in the corner, you're facing a lot of jabs, and shorts and all that kind of stuff, it might work, but then again, it just might not. So reliable it is not as a defensive move. And the level 3s, because, that's really all else they got, not great. So they're both grabs, although Lily's is effectively a fake grab, if you will, as if it's done here and the enemy sees it, they can just jump out and get a full punish. Zangief is definitely a lot better in that regard, right? Full invincible startup, and if you see the flash, you're dead, right? So it's definitely better defensively than, say, Lily's is, because you can't just wait and see it out. However, for the case of both of them, they are still true grabs, which means they will not work against airborne foes. So say you're up against any kind of move that counts as airborne, even for just a little bit, like say Ken's heavy Dragon Lash attack, which you'll see a lot of, right? In scenarios where you got the gotcha moment and haha, I'm going to get you because I called out your move. Well, you're just going to lose, right? Because it's airborne, so there's nothing to grab, so you just get bopped. So a more traditional strike level 3 is definitely much better defensively than either what Zangief or Lily has. They certainly aren't the only characters with some, suspect defense, but there's not many in this game. And a lot of characters that don't even have, that true Shoryuken style reversal, right? Like say E Honda or something like that, still has frame 1 armor at least. Lily, Zangief, they got frame 1 nothing. Now, another thing you could levy against both characters is they don't necessarily have a lot of pressure on wake up after a grab. However, I think that is very much intentionally designed. They don't want looping forever Vortex and Oki off, grabs. So if you're Zangief and you get your big grab, you get the big grab, and it does more damage than it's really kind of ever done since Street Fighter 2. But that's it. You get the grab, you get the damage. You can get a drive rush after, but there's nothing really guaranteed, and the enemy can just kind of walk backwards out of it, right? You just get the damage, that's it. Much the same, say, Lily. Street Fighter 4 T-Hawk specifically, light grab, gave him the world. If you got hit by light grab, sure, it didn't do as much damage as the heavy grab did, but you were in the blender once you got hit by the light grab, right? Lily, regardless of the grab strength, either way, you're effectively put full screen. Now, you know, there is a fun few things you can do. Like, say, specifically, if they're near the corner, you can E-expire if you have the windstock afterwards and, like, get a follow-up or whatever, or get a level 1 super. But that's only if they're in the corner and the enemy is still free to block, right? And you need the windstock to do it. So, just basic get grab and then potentially guess till you die. Neither character can do it like they could in previous games. But once again, that is, I think, very much by design. Now, on to some Zangief specifics. This is a very specific to Zangief because Lily doesn't share this problem. Is some difficulty dealing with air stuff or things that don't work the way you think they should. Lily, on the other hand, is for the most part fantastic against dealing with jumpers. And Zangief is awesome at dealing against jumpers, against obvious jumps, specifically. Like, if you just telegraph it, you just sleeping in, Larry to punch that all day long. It's not an issue. However, against any kind of cross-up, that's where Zangief really struggles. Lariat is not good against cross-ups. EX Lariat also not good against cross-ups. Zangief, for the most part, if he gets crossed up, you just kind of have to deal with it. And then you could think like fun things like, well, okay, I have the anti-air super, right? So I'll do the motion, let it auto-correct on the other side, and then haha, gotcha, right? But the problem is, it's not very good at it. So I remember when this first got shown off, I'm like, okay, this has to be better than Guilty Gear Strive, Potemkin, Heavenly Potemkin Buster, right? Because that move, outside of combos and very specific, like, gimmicky setups, might as well not exist as a true anti-air. And yes, okay, admittedly, yes, this is better in that way, but not by much, because it misses all the time. Once again, you need that most obvious telegraph jump in the world, and even then, I'm not editing this out. I thought I was actually going to get that, and I didn't. So that goes to show just how unreliable it is as an anti-air. Ideally, Lariat should be a no-fly zone, right? Like, Zangief already struggles enough on multitude of issues. So, at the very least, okay, at least you got to beat me on the ground. And he's blessed with some decent normals this time around, honestly. Like, he's got some stuff to work with. So, purely grounded fighting, Zangief's doing all right in Street Fighter 6. But the fact is that just an average jump, like, he has to walk backwards if it's going to be any kind of cross-up, like, well into the jump to beat a jump in. Because if there's any kind of cross-up, he's just going to lose every time. He can't really defend himself in any reliable way. Because either, you know, level 1 is just not going to work as intended. And if you try to do it as anti-cross-up, it's still not going to work as intended. So it can be rough. Zangief especially deals poorly with people who jump a lot other than the most obvious jump-ins. And I feel like this should be a strength of his rather than a weakness. Now, once again for Lily, this is basically not an issue. Against stuff like cross-ups, she's blessed with a crouch heavy punch. And crouch heavy punch is like the only normal in the game that can reliably beat cross-ups. Think of it like Birdie's crouch medium punch in Street Fighter 5. It's actually really good. It only has a 2-frame anti-air window, which is short, but it works. Plus, you know, of course, naturally, she has an actual uppercut. It's not invincible against strikes and on-grounded stuff or whatever, but it is at the very least invincible against air attacks, and she can do the old cross-cut technique and all that kind of stuff. So Lily actually is pretty strong against jumpers, but Lily has other problems. So where does Lily struggle? Admittedly, she has things working in her favor. She has good anti-airs that we talked about. Her normal suite, I would say, is better than a good chunk of the cast. Stand medium punch especially is a standout. Crouch heavy punch also good. Back heavy punch also good. Roundhouse not bad. Some things are a little anemic, like crouch medium kick almost might as well not exist, especially compared to some other characters' crouch medium kicks where they get the world off it, especially just off into drive rush into whatever combo, right? But the normals aren't bad. So anti-air good, normals good. The issue with Lily specifically, I guess you could say, is the damage. She needs more winning interactions to win the actual round than most other characters. Like, say the classic setup here, you block the enhanced wind spire, so she's +1, right? So at which point you're now in mix-up zone, either get grabbed or get hit. And if you get grabbed, you get admittedly pretty decent damage, but then you're just reset back to neutral. And once again, in neutral, she has decent pokes, but not decent ability to convert off the pokes into big damage like some other characters, like say, you know, DJ, Jury, Cammy, all that kind of stuff. And say you do connect. So you don't have any wind afterwards, I'm assuming anyways. Mid-screen, that's about it. It's about all you're going to get. And say you do have another stock involved here, then you can do something like this instead. Get an extra normal in there. And that's still about it, right? That's not much. And even if you want to say burn a drive rush, like, you know, that gives her a win stock, but it's still less than 2,000 damage. A lot of characters can get pretty sizable damage, even off lights, off a drive rush. This is definitely also an issue too for Zangief, by the way, where he has to burn a lot of Mar to get not much damage in return, even less than Lily, right? The efficiency of the drive meter for both characters is kind of low. Like the standard Lily death combo looks something like this. And, you know, it does its damage, right? But for burning all your drive gauge, burning your level 3, it's still not even 5,000. A lot of characters, you know, get 6,000+ in scenarios like that. Lily just doesn't get big time opportunities off most of their stuff, right? Like, for her, like, basic pokes in the special would be about it, and has weird scaling too, by the way. Like, look at this. So, back heavy punch into level 3 super, right? Level 3 super connects, and the first hit will be at 90% scaling. Okay, fair enough, right? Now, if I do this into special, and then I do my level 3, now the level 3, the next hit will be at 60% scaling, which is really odd, and really curtails a lot of the damage. She just doesn't have a lot of easy common scenarios, and the easier common scenarios like a poke in the special, all that, has weird ultra advanced scaling that other characters don't have to deal with. Like, let me give you Cammy, for example, right? So we're going to do normal into special in level 3, and the third hit here, 70%, not 60 like Lily. So what's the difference? I literally can't tell you. Just Lily is not favored by the combo algorithm, I guess. Now, if you want something really messed up and not favored by the game systems, Zangief stays in burnout longer than any other character. You'd think something like this would be universal, right? Nope, it's not. So as you can see here, the burnout gauges, they both start at the exact same time. And what's going to happen here is Cammy is going to recover faster than Zangief does. Why does Zangief have a longer burnout penalty than every other character in the game? You tell me, man. I do not know why. Doesn't make much sense to me. You'd think that would be universal, right? But regardless, Zangief remains in burnout longer than everyone else. Being in burnout sucks already, right? If you're in burnout, your chances of losing the match are definitely going up. And if you got to be in burnout longer than the rest of the cast, well, that says a lot about poor old Zangief, right? That means the chances of winning are just going down the drain. So obviously it's not going to be doom and gloom forever, although I don't expect these characters to necessarily wildly shoot up the tier list even with buffs. But things will get better eventually because naturally they are in line for buffs, as most people will consider these characters among the worst in the game. How do we fix them? Well, you know, we'll see. There's definitely some imaginative things you can do, but there's also a lot of easy fixes. For Zangief, just a little bit easier anti-air, a little bit more reliable anti-air would definitely just make his game a lot better. Because if he can just shut you down from just wildly jumping whenever you want, whenever he wants, forces you to play the ground game a bit more. He's not too bad at the ground game this time around. Plus, you know, all the usual gimmicks. Does he need guaranteed pressure and Oki off the pile drivers? I don't really think so. It'd be nice. It would definitely make him a better character, right? But they seem to be moving away from like guaranteed, you have to guess now 50-50 coin flips after you already got grabbed. They don't seem to want that in this game, so they don't need it in this game, I suppose. And plus he has it to a degree already anyways. You just got to use the regular throw. Like say the Spine Buster. You're plus 33 after the fact, right? So you can do a lot with that. Like even if, say, you just forward dash after the fact, right? I botched that, wasn't fast as possible timing. I'm still plus 9. And if you're plus 9 on their wake up, then they're definitely in grab range, and you're in heavy grab range too. So he does have it to a degree, you just have to set up a little bit differently. It's not just big grab into big grab into big grab. It's a smaller grab into potentially a big grab. Reliable anti-air, maybe just a bit more opportunity to get more like real damage. Like spending so much meter to only get 1800 damage is a little ridiculous. But this is the options he has to take, right? And just little things like headbutt stopping fireballs, that'd be nice again, right? For Lily, what do we need? Well, once again, she's a character with very marked strengths. Once again, good buttons, good anti-air, so she has stuff, right? It's just her offense is very susceptible to just getting shut down very easily by a drive reversal. Considering the wind stocks and forcing the plus on block situation into, the mix is like the gimmick of the character, the fact that you can just go like, nah, whenever you want is very strong, right? And of course it knocks her back. She has to work her way back in. She does take a little bit of grade damage as well. So just that in and of itself, like, it's obviously by design, but since it's so easy to shut down, it is definitely not in her favor because she has to rebuild the stocks and all that kind of stuff. So maybe even starting the match with a singular win stock each round would be very beneficial. Like, it still maintains its weaknesses, sure, but at the very least, you get one more opportunity to do so, Like, you don't want to wildly change up the core of the character and how it all works, but it'd be nice. Like, I saw a very poignant meme on Twitter in the Trailer Park Boys style, and that's kind of how it is for Lily. If you're just willing to burn that drive gauge to get her off, like, that's about it for the character. She can't do too much until you're close to burnout. And, like, honestly, if you look at the drive gauge anyways, if you just let her do the whole spiel anyways, like, the drive gauge damage can get pretty significant. Like, that's over 1.5 bars anyways, so might as well just, cut the wound as it lies and just get her off you now, because you're going to be losing a good chunk of drive gauge anyways through one general block sequence. Other things that would be nice, like the Condor Dive glitch, just graduate that to a real move. The fact that the throw tech glitch was kind of patched out, and I'm assuming they know about the jump back EX Condor Dive and they just chose to do nothing with it, just make that an official move. That'd be totally fine. Other things like, should EX Tomahawk Buster be a true reversal? I think so. However, I don't think that would ever really happen. Because if this was full invincible and still had the follow-up, I don't know, I would see some people saying that would be like overpowered or something. I don't think it would be, but, is what it is, right? Definitely can't have someone have a better uppercut than Ken, right? That'd be blasphemy. But yeah, just starting with a singular win stock out of the gate, I think would help a lot, just because it'll give her one more positive interaction. And once again, I think it takes her more interactions to win than the average character, because their overall damage output is fairly low. That and just making some of the normals better, like crouch medium kick, like give it something to work with. Like a good range buff to that would be very helpful, as she doesn't have many meaningful lows, really. Like, she has crouch light kick up close, but other than that, you're rolling the dice if your sweep gets blocked. This move doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned, right? It has very limited use. And maybe, like, say, crouch medium punch, if that was special cancelable, that'd be very interesting as well. If you want to give her a decent neutral, give her more tools to win with in neutral, right? If that's going to be her win condition, is just winning through, like, pokes and all that kind of stuff through these kind of interactions, let her do that better than she currently does it. And of course, that's just me spitballing, right? Who knows whenever there's going to be a balance patch? Certainly not till well after EVO, I'm sure, right? Rashid is already going to be tournament legal for EVO, so that's already going to be a whole mess in and of itself. And we definitely don't need balance changes before then. But overall, I think Street Fighter 6 is in a pretty good state. There's obviously winners, there's obviously losers. People like, Ken, DJ, Cammy, Jury, those are definitely winners. People like Zangief and Lily, unfortunately, are kind of more losers. And that'll change over the coming months and years as we get many balance patches over time, right? Who knows, like, Season 3, Street Fighter 6 Arcade Edition, Lily's the best character in the game. Who knows if we'll ever get there, but that could be a possibility, right? That said, those are some things I personally think about this. I would love to hear what you guys think. Do you think I have some good ideas or bad ideas? Also, what ideas do you personally have for Zangief or Lily, just to help them through some of their doldrums as we go through the journey with Street Fighter 6? And other than all that, well, I guess we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.